let's talk about Brexit, because this week it's going to get rough. This week the Parliament has got 3 days where they'll be sitting in the UK. I guarantee you, now I'm sure all of you sit up, lean forward, and as soon as we switch to the UK at 1 o'clock Eastern, you go, oh, Kay Burley's on, time to go to bed. But no, you're going to have to stick around, because it's going to be rock and roll all night, because all sorts of things are about to happen inside the Parliament. There will be all sorts of things, from an attempt to boost Boris, bounce him out as the government, Jeremy Corbyn taking over potentially. Rightio. A collection of rebels of his own team who will effectively try to pass a law saying we can't have Brexit without a deal. Janine, are you planning to sit up like you are watching Wimbledon in the middle of the night, like the stock market's about to crash? Or the Dow Jones when it's going down. Absolutely. This is incredibly historic. I mean, Boris he was pretty tough last week with Parliament and proroguing it, but over the weekend he basically told the rebels, we're withdrawing, we're disendorsing you, you're out, that's it. He has called it, and it'll be interesting to see if they back down or they take him on, because then we get into a whole other raft of issues. So let's just take some wild swings. In a week from now, has he made it through, or are we already in an election campaign?
I don't know. I'm not going to call it that way. I don't know whether they've got the spine. They're making a lot of noise, and he has a very slim majority, and if they push him, if they do hold the line, I think it is inevitable he'll have to go to the people. Which would mean there could be a crash out during an election campaign, Rowan.
Anything could happen, but I still say that Farage is going to play a critical role in this. Nigel Farage, one way or other, will end up in some kind of partnership, whether it's formal or informal, with the Tory party, because, for exactly the reasons Janine is saying, some of those rebels, so-called, will be disendorsed. They'll become independents, which reduces the Tories' majority. The Tories are riding high in the opinion polls under Boris. People believe Boris can pull this off. So he can afford to talk tough, he can afford to throw out the threats and all the rest. But if it slips up, that's when Farage comes in, and that's when Farage... But I love you believe the opinion polls. Theresa May got carried away with how high she was rolling in.
Sure, absolutely. But and it was totally wrong.
I'm not basing it on the opinion polls. The people of Britain are split 52-48 in favour of Brexit, and one way or other Brexit will be delivered, and a large chunk of that 52 is Nigel Farage's backers, particularly from the old Labour Party. It's the old Labour voters, much like One Nation, it's the old Labour voters who support Farage, Pauline Hanson, Malcolm Roberts and others. Well,
Malcolm, before your Uber with that very loud muffler gets you in the next few minutes, I want to ask you what you think about whether you'll be sitting back and watching, with one eye open, one eye closed, trying to get some shut-eye in Queensland. Will you be watching what's going to happen in real time over the next week?
In Brexit, in London? No, I won't be, because I'll just get some sleep, because we're going to be pretty busy wherever we are. And so, no, I won't be interested, because I'll be interested, but I won't be watching, because the result is the result and I can't influence it. I'll work on the things that I can influence. But I agree with Rowan. I met Nigel Farage at the CPAC conference a couple of weeks ago, and he is like a ghost hanging behind Boris Johnson. He is ready to move, and he came back after retiring from politics. He came back because it looked like the Tories are getting weak, and he was right. If Boris folders, Farage is going to take over. He'll be the next Prime Minister.